Hey, right before we start the video, it would mean a lot to me if you could go in the description. I have a link. If you could, in any way, shape, or form, support the Gold Coast Railroad Museum with either a donation or just reposting their Instagram stuff on your page or whatever, that would mean a lot to me. And, any amount helps from, a penny to, a dollar or whatever you got. If you can donate, then please do. Anyway, I'll go into more detail later on, and thank you, and enjoy the video. Hello everybody! Today, we're going to be looking at the N-scale Bachmann Gordon. Now, before I even opened it, this thing looks amazing, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. So here's the packaging, here's this side, here's the, oh, well, since it's already open, I don't need that anymore. Now, it's in a nice, it's not like the Bachmann HO stuff that is in the blister packaging that is impossible to open. Here, just need to finagle it a little bit, and here he is. Okay, let's get him out of the box. Ooh, as I almost dropped the tender immediately. Now, let's take a closer look at the Bachmann Gordon. So, from the front, this model looks absolutely amazing. The face is spot on to CGI Series Gordon. And might I say, the lamp irons and brake pipes are absolutely phenomenal. Separately fitted, and they look great. They might be a bit fragile, but so far they haven't broken. The next thing I want to touch on is the buffers. The buffers are perfectly sized, and they are the exact shape of his CGI counterpart. And the model series counterpart too. Now, my only complaint with the front is the hook on the buffer beam. I think it's a little small and it looks a little weird when everything else is a bit larger, but I digress. That's such a small, minute thing that I'm not going to dock it for that. The main thing it's going to get docked for is the side of the model. Now let's turn Gordon around here and look at the side. Now, the side, as I said, this is where my problems lied with this model. Before I start whinging and complaining, let me talk about the things I like. Number one, the whistle looks really good. Even though it's not technically separately applied, it is part of the mold, it still looks really nice. And his paintwork and striping, also amazing. They look awesome. His funnel's the right size as well, which is good, and his cab looks great. And his tender painting, also awesome. And I do like his coal load in the tender. That also looks really realistic and nice. Now, let's whinge. My biggest whinge of Gordon is that number one, he's too small, and number two, the wheels are not spoked. Those two things bring this model down a lot. The valve gear is nice, impressive, but it could be a little thinner, and especially at like the ends where it connects to the last wheel, it has that weird like squared off bit. I feel like that squared off bit is a bit too large in my opinion, but I'm pretty sure that's accurate to like the CGI Gordon kind of. I'm not entirely sure, but I do wish it was a little smaller. Although, since it is so large, it'll probably last a million years. So, that's good. But yeah, those are my main two biggest complaints of the model, and also the non-separately fitted handrails, especially for the retail price of $135. I feel like there should be separately fitted handrails at that price point, but once again, this is more geared towards younger children, or, younger teenagers, so I can understand why, they wouldn't go that route. They're more likely to break off, given the target audience of this. But still, for, costing more than a Kato Jivo, I think that, they should at least be similar. They don't have to be on the same level, but they should at least be somewhat similar. Now, I will talk about one last positive thing about the looks, and that's the back of the tender. The back of the tender looks really nice. The buffers are the correct shape, and the brake pipe is separately fitted. And then once again, you have the rear hook. Now, something of note on this model is that it also has NEM couplers, which means you could easily take out the coupler and put it back in, as demonstrated here. And you can even replace these with knuckle couplers if you have some extras laying around. Now let's get into the running and performance of the model, which in my opinion is the most important part of a model. Alright, so we're gonna put them in, I think I have it in forward, let's see. Yep. Oh. Ooh. Keep in mind he is fresh out the box. I haven't had a chance to properly run him in. Ooh. Okay, that's not a good noise. Okay, hang on. So, update since the last time, or since, not the last time, since the last clip, literally. It's been a few days, and this thing runs great in forwards, and it runs horribly going backwards. Now, you can still run in backwards, but I get this horrible clicking noise, and it's dreadful. And this is a few days later, and it's run in, and I've torn it apart and looked at it. So I'm pretty sure there's like some plastic bit that has, or some of the plastic molding for one of the gears, I'm guessing, hasn't fully been flushed. So I'm guessing that's getting caught somewhere. I don't know. I'm gonna be doing a full teardown though later. I'll get into that in a bit. But yeah, overall, I'm not very pleased with this model. I'm not terribly happy with it. It could be a lot better. Granted, I paid $94 for it, but for like $94 or $98 or even $80, I say a Kato Jivo is a lot better of a buy. Especially the fact that this is DCC ready and it has actual lights on it. I believe it's dual flywheeled, which this has one tiny flywheel. This thing's doo-doo. This thing has two of them, I'm pretty sure. And these things run like dreams, and they outperform this thing like a champ. Granted, they don't have NEM couplers, but you know what? They're easy enough to change the couplers out of. So, yeah. On the DCC scale, I'm going to give this like a 5. It's not impossible, but you're going to need a small decoder, and you're going to need a solder. So, that's my problem with it. These, for reference, these are 10s. These are 10s on the DCC scale. I could literally do it in the span of a minute, if not less. In fact, I'll probably, when I do a full review on the Kato Jivo, I don't know which one I'll use. I have plenty of them, but I'll do a full review on them sometime. They are those are the benchmark engines I use for N scale model railroading. But anyway, enough gushing about that. Let me finish talking about this. In summary, wheels should be flanged, but you know, most of the Bachmann range isn't. Wheels are also too small. They should be larger. The engine itself should be larger, but those are just Bachmann related issues. Front looks nice. Face looks great. Much better than the Bachmann HO face. The back's really nice. Cab details are good. Although the interior of the cab is lackluster, but I wasn't expecting much there. This connection with the tender is awful. See, it already came off and I barely touched it. And then, other than that, that about summarizes my thoughts. Oh, yeah, and the mechanism is terrible. It has a flywheel, but it's still managed to be garbage. So, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to finish the rest of the video off with some running footage. But before I go into that, as I said in the beginning of the video, if you can go to the link in the description and donate any amount that you can to the Gold Coast Railroad Museum, it'd mean a lot to me, and it'd mean a lot to the rest of the volunteers and staff of the museum. Because we greatly need your help, and any amount is welcome. And then, secondly, next week's episode, let me get into that. Next week, next Friday, more specifically, I will be putting DCC in this guy, and I'm going to see if that fixes his issues. So, full tutorial on that next Friday. And other than that, comment, like, subscribe. You guys know what to do. I will see you later, and take care.